Pyeongchang, South Korea. The 2018 Winter Olympic Games come to a conclusion with the closing ceremony. Stay here for live updates, photographs, and analysis from Pyeongchang. Next, a somewhat abstract look at time. Some base 60 numbers were projected. It was a bit hard to understand, but the ceremony guidebook clarified, when the number becomes 0, the people of the future break free from the existing time and space, and arrive at a world no longer bound by gravity. And the axis of new time set a new orbit of time in motion, and despite the fluid nature of the orbit, it reformulates itself by discovering and creating a new order. Thousands of moving lights and dancers made for a fine visual spectacle, if not a crystal clear one. Traditionally, a victory ceremony or two is held at the closing ceremony. Here it was the men's and women's mass start cross-country races. Marit Bjørgen of Norway accepted her mind-boggling 8th gold medal, and Yvonne Iskonen of Finland his 2nd. Thomas Bach of the IOC was on hand and was introduced for a second time as a former fencing gold medalist. In English and French. In French, fencing is escrime. Rather than carrying the unified flag that was seen throughout the Games, South and North Korea each carried in their own flag. Speed skater Lee Seung-hoon carried South Korea, and Kim Joo-sik of pairs figure skating carried North Korea. On the stage, a mournful and reflective moment, a tribute to those who have died, led by a turtle and giant puppets. The puppets were koktu, used at funerals to guide the dead to the next world. Marchers carried dandelion seeds, symbolic of life arising from death. Turtles are said to carry messages from humans to the gods. Next up was the parade of flags, with each nation carried by one of its own Olympic heroes. Except for Russia, whose flag has been banner non grata at the Games. Esther Ledecka, Czech Republic; Jessie Diggins, U.S., Marit Bjørgen, Norway; Irene Wust, Netherlands; and Javier Fernandez, Spain, are among those who earned the honor. And then came the mass of athletes, entering in no particular order rather than strictly by nation as in the closing ceremony. This entry was scheduled to take 20 minutes, although at other Olympics it has often gone on much longer. There were a record 2,920 athletes at these Games. The Canadian delegation marched in on a high, with many athletes wearing their medals around their necks. They had their best Winter Olympics performance ever, winning 29 medals in total, 14 gold. You'll notice less athletes in the closing ceremony than you did in the opening ceremony. Many athletes and most of the biggest name athletes travel back home after their events. But the last event of the Olympics concluded just 3 hours before the closing ceremony. So if you see any athletes limping just a little, they may have participated in this afternoon's 30-kilometer cross-country skiing race. Jang Saek and a group of children got the South Korean national anthem assignment. The anthem was accompanied not by an orchestra but by a single marimba, a xylophone-like instrument. And then Yang Tae-won, 13, completely shredded Vivaldi's The Four Seasons, Winter, naturally, in a rock guitar arrangement, as performers in glowing suits cavorted. 80 traditional Korean instruments, geomungos, a kind of zither, were then mixed with the rock, the meeting of old and new. A prayer pagoda rose from the stage to cap the opening number. In a colorful intro, young skiers and skaters on wheels dashed onto the circular stage that filled the pentagonal stadium. There was heavy use of light projections on the stage. President Moon Jae-in of South Korea and Thomas Bach of the IOC arrived and shook hands with Ivanka Trump among others. They were presented with snow globes by 2 children. Their significance? They were each born on July 7, 2011, the day Pyeongchang was awarded the Games. It was 35 degrees in the Pyeongchang Olympic Stadium. That's tropical compared to the low teens from the opening ceremony here. Attendees were still given a bag with seat warmers, hand warmers, and toe warmers. The ceremony is expected to be 2 hours long. After all, traditionally, athletes enter the stadium en masse, rather than grouped by national delegation. Each nation will designate one athlete to carry its flag. Jessica Diggins, gold medalist in the cross-country team sprint, has been chosen for the United States. Russia is the exception. The International Olympic Committee decided it could not carry its flag after 2 of its athletes tested positive. K-pop bands will provide some of the entertainment. They include EXO, a hugely popular Korean Chinese boy band, and CL, a member of the edgy, rocking girl group 2NE1. There will be a segment devoted to Beijing, host of the 2022 Games. At least one surprise guest has been promised. Ivanka Trump, the daughter of President Donald Trump, is expected to be in the audience at least once, and probably more. IOC President Thomas Bach will be introduced as an Olympic gold medalist in fencing.